Alright, today we are going to be reviewing the fifth and final season in the Van Helsing show. I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, finally he's getting around to it because, yeah, even I'm thinking the same thing. Just because it's been so long since I actually have, uh, done this show. Uh, yeah, I can't remember even when I viewed seasons 1 through 4. I would have to go back and check, how long ago that was. I think it might have been a couple of years ago, actually. So yeah, pretty crazy that it's been that long since I've even talked about this show. But this was kind of a very interesting season, actually, because in the end of the fourth season, they go through this portal, and I guess they're kind of separated, or they're in this realm known as the Dark Realm. Uh, After trying to defeat the Dark One in the present, Jack ends up getting transported into the past, and she's ends up in Transylvania, and of course everybody thinks she's a witch due to just the way she's portaled through. And so yeah, we kind of the first 3 or 4 episodes I think of this season was all in Transylvania, like in the past. So I thought that was really cool. And Jack ends up meeting Bathory, who was the Dark One's or Dracula's second hand. I guess kind of like, I don't know how, like, they called her the Oracle, but I don't really know. I guess she was like the second hand, or yeah, or I guess Dracula's most loyal subject, maybe, is the best way to describe her. And she always did like all of Dracula's dirty work, I guess, for her, so that she was never had to be out in the open. She was always, I guess, sort of quote unquote protected from any outside dangers. They were almost able to defeat her in the past, but unfortunately Bathory ended up getting blinded and then couldn't read the scroll to defeat her, and then ended up getting changed into the Oracle anyway. But I guess Jack was able to change a little bit because she was able to take away some of her powers. And then, of course, when Violet is back in the present, she ends up releasing some of it, and then by the end of the season, uh, unfortunately, the Dark One ends up gaining all of her powers, and then Vanessa has to come find her way out of the Dark Realm by basically harnessing her own darkness and then harnessing the power of the Dark One, and she ends up unfortunately dying uh, at the end of the season. So, yeah, that was kind of a sad moment, but I guess in a sense it was kind of a good thing because even though she ended up being, I guess, transported back into the Dark Realm due to taking on all the power, so not, I guess she wasn't really dead because it kind of seems like she was going to die, and then turns out that Axel just ends up taking care of her again at the end, kind of like what they did in the beginning. Now, one thing I would like to see, honestly, because it's only been a year since the show has ended, is a spin-off series of just the two daughters and Ivory, I believe, yeah, who was Jack's girlfriend in the show. I would honestly love to see where that piece of the story goes. And I mean, there's quite a few things kind of, I guess, left to question about whether there are still the vampires outside of the, I guess, yeah, outside of the wall. And I would love to see just where exactly they're going to, or what exactly could happen outside of the wall with Ivory and the girl she meets up with at the end. What was her name? I can't quite remember, but I'm trying to remember the name of the girl for some reason. Uh, yeah, because I know Dracula had another name, but I'm trying to think of what that other name was. It's totally slipping my mind. I don't know, it shouldn't be, but yeah. One interesting thing that I actually was in this season was that the president was still alive. So let's actually just go into the episode guide here. and go down to the one where they find the president alive, and Julius, I think, actually found the vampire that ended up turning him in one of the episodes, Nina, who at one point Vanessa has to turn into once she gets inside the wall to trick the Dark One into thinking that there's into thinking that she's on her side, so that she can get close enough to bite her, which doesn't even end up actually doing anything in the end. So, unfortunately, Julius ends up dying protecting Violet, but I guess him and Violet kind of had a history together, like a kind of like a father-daughter bond sort of thing in a way, and they became really close. I can't remember if that was in the third season or fourth season where they ended up fighting one another when he was still a vampire, and yeah, then after he was changed back into a human, they became really close. And I guess, in a way, uh, Vanessa ends up kind of clearing the air with Violet near the end of the season, and finally connecting with her on a different level. I feel like her and Jack always had a pretty good connection, but Violet always tried to keep distance from her for whatever reason. I don't know why. Instead of just, yeah, she was always like kind of tried to act like the tougher one, I guess. But I always found that Jack was kind of the more leader as far as his two sisters went. But I mean, I guess when they were separated, she kind of had to step up. I guess I could say, in a sense, yeah. So I guess she kind of kept her walls up, which didn't do her any benefit because I guess the Dark One kind of feeds on negative energy, right? So the more that you bottle in, the more that she can feed on that and eventually just make you go crazy and kind of do her bidding, which we do end up seeing at the very end of the season when she almost takes a hold of Vanessa before they are able to bite her and let the darkness out, and Vanessa's able to, I guess, kind of take on the entire burden because she's afraid that it would have killed Violet and Jack if they had tried to take it on. Now, I don't know, maybe they could have, I suppose maybe they could have, like, separated it between the three of them, and then maybe tried to search for something, some other vessel or amulet or something to put it in, because I think that would have made a little bit more sense, instead of just having Vanessa already with her own darkness inside of her, and then trying to take on all of that as an extra burden too. But I guess she does get to see Susan and Dylan, so there is some sort of... So I believe she'll probably end up making it out of where she is, and yeah, I guess we'll see from there. But yeah, I really would like to see a spin-off series of this as a whole. Honestly, I have to give this show... Now, I can't remember what I even rated seasons 1 through 4, but I would give season 5, yeah, like the whole show together, as a whole, 10 out of 10, and I would honestly give season 5, on its own, I'm going to have to say about an 8 out of 10, because it's been so long since I've seen the show, and I might have to go back and watch it over again at some point in time, because I think, yeah, it was just such a good show from beginning to end, and there's probably some stuff I'm forgetting, but yeah, they did do quite a bit of flashbacks, which was helpful in this season, like between Axel and Vanessa and their history together and all sorts of other things that they did. And Kim Coates was actually in this show at the very beginning, and so it turns out that the woman that Dracula took over, or aka the Dark One, was actually a Van Helsing, and their son ended up becoming, I don't think he was the first Van Helsing, was he? I can't remember. But anyway, some sort of ancestor, because he was named after Jack, so he was Jack Van Helsing, and I guess the woman that she took over was also a Van Helsing somehow too, so when they saved her, they told her all of this, and it was kind of a cool ending to find out that she was also a relative of theirs, or I guess ancestor of theirs, that had just thankfully, I guess, yeah, it was kind of like a heartwarming moment, I guess, at the end of the season, even though what happened to her wasn't necessarily good, but I guess they get to spend some time with her before she ends up passing away now, because she's back to being full human. And I don't know why Jack didn't go with, Ivory at the end, because she could have, but I guess Ivory kind of had to do this on her own because she wanted to see if there was any more of the sisterhood out there that maybe A, hadn't been changed, or B, maybe they had been changed and she just wanted to kind of, I guess, figure out if they were still alive, because I guess she could feel some sort of presence outside of that. And Doc ends up just kind of separating from Axel and Julius and giving them the bullets that they need to defeat the Daywalkers. And Doc was never really my favorite character because she always put everybody in situations that they didn't need to be in, so I was kind of glad that she just ended up separating from that whole situation, because oh my god, I can only imagine how that would have ended if she was there. Because she never really changed. She was kind of a selfish person as far as I was concerned right from the very beginning of the show, so I never really liked her character. They could have literally left her, I believe it was it a hospital they were in the very first season? They could have left her there and I would not have been upset. If Axel had just left her there as a vampire, I would not have been upset with that. Knowing what I know now, and remembering what I remember from her leaving Axel to die in the very first season, and all that jazz, and then, doing her own kind of selfish biddings throughout the entire show. She never really seemed to show too much compassion for other people other than herself. As far as I'm concerned, she was my least favorite character in the show. To see her finally, I guess, gone was kind of a blessing. I don't really think I need to go over the cast list again, because I did that in my season 1 through 4 review, I do believe. So if you haven't seen that, go back and check that one out first, and then come and see this one. I guess I'll see you guys. I'm going to be watching Superstore, the season 6 of Superstore next, so expect those reviews to be coming fairly soon. And I did, in my update video, I know I talked about a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to go back and watch all my other update videos just to see what else I promised and start working on that as well, because, there's just a lot that I want to do, and a lot that I should go back and do. So, the next couple months is going to be jam-packed with stuff from last year, and so on and so forth. So, look forward to it. And I look forward to, what was I going to say? Looking forward to keeping this grind going, because I really am enjoying doing this now that I'm really, focusing on it and putting my best foot forward and effort into this. So, I really want to see where this journey takes me, because right now I kind of consider it a hobby, but I'm really working hard to make this my full-time job, because if I can do that, I'd be extremely happy with just being able to have my own schedule. So we'll see where this year takes me, but I'm really hoping that this is going to be a good year for me. It has been so far, because I am getting subscribers, and I'm thankful for every one of you. And when we get to 50, I'll do a little thank you video for everybody that's been subscribed since the beginning again, and all the new people that have been coming in the last couple months or month, I guess, right now, because my channels are growing, so that's a step in the right direction, and I thank every one of you. This is just a little thank you, but I'll do a little bit of a longer video on that when we get to 50, and then obviously 100, and so on and so forth as we grow, because clearly it shows that people do like my content, so that's a good thing. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.